As a showdown looms in Virginia and likely elsewhere between gun rights and gun control activists, it's time to step back, dial down emotions, and examine a treasure trove of hard information about the relationship between guns and crime. I'm Tim Donner with 5 facts about gun use in America and its relationship to crime. Fact 1. Violent crime has been on the decline for decades. According to the National Crime Victimization Survey, violent crime has been declining steadily since the early 1990s. The 2013 gun-related death rate was half the rate of 20 years earlier in 1993. And the number of non-fatal firearm crimes committed in 2011 was 1/6 the number committed 20 years earlier. Spikes in some types of violent crime have increased slightly because of isolated gang activity. But the principal public safety concerns with respect to guns are not mass shootings, but suicides and illegally owned handguns. According to the Pew Research Center, almost 2/3 of America's annual gun deaths are suicides, and best estimates are that at least 3/4 or 75% of gun-related crime is committed with illegal firearms. Fact 2. A small number of factors significantly increase the chances that a person will be a victim of gun-related homicide. According to the Crime Prevention Research Center, over 50% of murders occur in just 2% of the nation's counties, mostly in urban precincts. In 2014, more than half, or 54% of U.S. counties had 0 murders. The majority of standard gun murder victims are men between the ages of 15 and 34. And although black men make up roughly 7% of the population, they account for almost 2/3 of gun murder victims every year. Fact 3. Gun-related murders are carried out by a predictable pool of people. According to multiple studies, almost all mass public shooters have extensive histories of mental health issues, disturbing behaviors, or interpersonal violence, even if those issues are not discovered until after the fact. Intimate partner conflict and domestic violence history are also major risk factors for homicide suicides. Fact 4. Higher rates of gun ownership are not associated with higher rates of violent crime. Switzerland and Israel have much higher gun ownership rates than the United States, but experience far fewer homicides and have much lower violent crime rates than many European nations with strict gun control laws. Here in the U.S., major cities, St. Louis, Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago, and others, generally have the strictest gun laws and also very high murder rates. There's also no clear relationship between strict gun control legislation and homicide or violent crime rates. Fact-based ratings by the Brady Campaign Against Gun Violence indicate that so-called gun freedom states like New Hampshire, Vermont, Idaho, and Oregon have some of the lowest homicide rates. Conversely, states with expansive gun restrictions like Maryland and Illinois experience some of the nation's highest homicide rates. And that brings us to fact 5. Legally owned firearms are used for lawful purposes more often than they're used to commit crimes or suicide. Almost all national survey estimates indicate that defensive gun uses by victims dwarf those of offensive uses by criminals, with estimates of annual defensive uses ranging from about 500,000 to more than 3 million per year, in the context of about 300,000 violent crimes involving firearms each year. Facts are stubborn things, and as the battle heats up in 2020 over what, if any, limit should be placed on the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, activists from both the gun rights and gun control communities would certainly best serve the general public by employing hard facts instead of pure emotion to guide their judgment on the Second Amendment to America's Bill of Rights.
Hi folks, Lisa K. Donner here, Editor-in-Chief of LibertyNation.com. We hope you enjoyed watching this video, maybe even learned a thing or two. If so, please take a moment and subscribe to our YouTube channel right down there in the corner. Thanks so much.